Today, the Berkshire former teacher coping with a rare life-changing condition.
Berkshire News and Berkshire Stories.
With Bill Buckley.
BBC Radio Berkshire.
Bill Buckley.
If I could
Turn back time. Good morning, it's Bill Buckley with you until 1. Where shall we start today? With a John Lennon quote. John Lennon said, "Life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans." He may actually have borrowed it from a 1957 Reader's Digest article, I gather, which attributes it to a gentleman called Alan Saunders. Anyway, either way, it is a great truism, I think. For example, you're bowling along, happy home and family life, you love your job, future's looking good, and then a medical diagnosis changes everything. Maybe you've been through something similar yourself. If so, you will empathise with Jay Verdi. Jay from Stoke Poges was a teacher in Slough, had to give it up after being diagnosed with a condition that affects 0.017% of the population, and joins us now. Hello, Jay.
Hi, good morning, Bill.
Very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too.
So, of course, the obvious question is, what is this life-changing condition?
Well, it's, as you've said in the statistics there, it's an incredibly rare autoimmune disease. And I must say, an autoimmune disease is a disease that attacks your entire body, head to toe. I want to change the perception that an autoimmune disease results in having some kind of I want to say disability tools. For example, a wheelchair. I've walked into your studio this morning.
You did. Well, that's the thing. You look like anybody else. Nobody would know, would they?
No, they wouldn't. And I want to change that perception.
You're smiling. You walked in. Your hair is lustrous. You're nicely dressed. You're like any successful person.
Well, thank you very much, and that's the issue here. Is I look well, perhaps dress myself as I would for work. However, I'm sat here with you with all a number of things going on. I'm mindful of the pain in my joints and my hands. I'm mindful of the temperature in this room because this disease means.
Well, now say if you need it adjusted. Do you need more heat?
Well, I shall ask you.
Please ask.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. We haven't said what it's called. It's called scleroderma.
Right. So scleroderma. The long name is systemic sclerosis, and scleroderma is the kind of well-known name used.
And what's actually happening then?
So what's happening is that my body's effectively turning itself into stone. So if you were to reach across and feel my arm,
may I?
You can. How would you describe that?
I would say you've been to the gym many times, concentrating on the area between the palm and the elbow, which is very unusual.
It's unusual.
As hard as a rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you imagine in your daily movements, stretching, talking.
Yeah.
Everything is becoming rigid and quite hardened and toughened. So
is that one of the worst areas, or are you like that all over?
It is one of the worst areas. Yeah. It's now manifesting itself in the fingers. So it's a mild spectrum at the moment. So what I must say, Bill, is systemic sclerosis or scleroderma is essentially the thickening of the skin. It's the thickening and hardening of the connective tissues. It's incredibly rare. It affects...
is it incredibly painful? Does it hurt you a lot?
Yes, it is painful. Inflammation, any type of inflammation in the joints.
So it's chronic pain. You're always in pain?
You're always in pain.
Wow. That, of all the aspects of it, that's the one I always think I'd find hardest to get my head around, to never have... Well, can you play mind games to not notice it for a bit?
Absolutely. I have a wonderful life coach who's taught me how to manage pain using your mind, as it were, mindfulness, all sorts of therapies. Of course, you go through the rounds of drugs in terms of painkillers.
And you get some good effect from that?
You do get some good effect.
Right.
I must say, if you are going to be on painkillers long term, there is that point where they become infective. So I have always been a person who's looked to the alternative therapies and thought about using the mind. I'm sat here with you, I'm mindful of a few areas of pain, but I'm smiling away. Here we are. Vocal cords are working, that's another area.
Now this was one of the ways that you first knew something was going wrong, because as a teacher, of course, like me, your voice is your primary asset, weapon, call it what you will.
Yes, I'm sure some of my students would call it a weapon sometimes. I have been known to be the militant teacher at
It
school.
was interesting I chose that word of all the words
Yes,
I could.
perfect.
I had very happy school days, so I don't know why I did that. But
No, I think that, well, I had happy school days. I'm not sure about my students. Being head of IT was a bit of a...
what started to go wrong with the voice then?
So, I guess the projection of the voice, the lungs were letting me down. What part of my scleroderma includes the interstitial lung disease. So, you have this disease on two spectrums. You have it at a mild stage where it affects mainly your skin and a few other parts of your body, and then
The
you
same
have
hardening process is now going on in the lung.
yes.
Wow.
So it's a fibrosis